The massive alien ship drifted through space like a dark mountain. Inside its metallic halls, war leader Zethkar studied the glowing screens that showed him images of human worlds. His 4 eyes moved across the data with growing satisfaction. These creatures called themselves humans, and they looked weak. Zethkar had conquered 17 different species in his long career. He knew how to spot weakness. The humans spent their time on foolish things. They made art. They played games. They wasted resources on entertainment and music. Their cities were full of parks and gardens instead of weapons factories. Their ships carried families instead of soldiers. Behind him, intelligence analyst Velinara cleared her throat. She was young for a Caltharian, her scales still bright green instead of the battle-scarred gray of veterans. War leader, I must report something troubling about these humans. Zethkar did not turn around. He continued studying the images of human children playing in streets, human adults dancing at festivals, human artists painting colorful pictures on walls. What could possibly be troubling about such soft creatures? Velinara stepped forward, her claws clicking on the metal floor. Their history shows patterns that concern me. They've fought wars among themselves for thousands of years. Their planet is divided into many nations that constantly compete. They have weapons that can destroy entire cities. All species fight among themselves, Zethkar said with a dismissive wave of his hand. That proves nothing except that they cannot unite against a real threat. But war leader, their wars show something else. Do not surrender easily. When their city called Stalingrad was surrounded, they fought in the ruins for months. When their island nation of Britain was bombed daily, they refused to give up. When their ships were attacked at a place called Pearl Harbor, they built a massive fleet for revenge. Zethkar finally turned to face her. His scarred face showed no concern. Ancient history. These humans have grown soft since then. Look at their current behavior. He pointed to a screen showing humans helping injured animals, humans sharing food with strangers, humans crying at sad movies. They are weak. They let emotions control them. They care more about individual lives than victory. Velinara tried again. War leader, their emotional nature might make them more dangerous, not less. Species that form strong bonds fight harder to protect their groups. Their pack-hunting behavior suggests they coordinate well in combat. Their persistence hunting methods show they never give up once they start chasing prey. Enough. Zethkar's voice echoed through the command center. Other Caltharian officers stopped their work to listen. I have seen 100 species like this. They appear strong in their own environment, but they crumble when faced with superior technology and tactics. These humans will surrender within days of our first attack. The War Council met that same day aboard the flagship. 12 species made up the Caltharian hegemony, and representatives from each attended. The meeting room was enormous, filled with different types of alien beings. Some breathed different gases. Others lived in water tanks, and a few existed as pure energy in special containers. War leader Zethkar presented his analysis to the council. The humans control 47 star systems. Their total population is roughly 12 billion. They have been in space for less than 400 years. Their technology is primitive compared to ours. Their ships use simple fusion drives instead of quantum tunneling. Their weapons are basic plasma and projectile systems. Most importantly, they have never faced a threat from outside their own species. The council members discussed the data. The Vorthok representative, a being made of living crystal, spoke first. Their industrial capacity seemed significant.
A47.
Systems is not a small territory. But look how they use that capacity, Zethkar replied. They build hospitals instead of weapons factories. They create entertainment systems instead of war machines. They waste materials on comfort instead of preparing for battle. The Netlian delegate, speaking through a translation device from her water tank, agreed. Their emotional attachments make them predictable. They will surrender to protect their civilians. Velinara had been granted permission to attend the council meeting. She stood nervously at the back of the room. Council members, I request permission to present additional data about human warfare capabilities. Zethkar's eyes narrowed. The council has heard enough from intelligence. We are here to plan victory, not listen to paranoid theories. The High Counselor, an ancient being whose species had founded the hegemony, gestured for silence. Let the analyst speak. Intelligence reports are part of proper planning. Velinara activated her display screen. Humans have a saying: when you absolutely positively need to kill every living thing in the room overnight, except no substitutes. They joke about their own capacity for violence. Their entertainment is full of stories about individuals defeating overwhelming odds through determination and sacrifice. Entertainment proves nothing, scoffed the Delarian representative. But their actual behavior does, Velinara continued. When their space station Unity was damaged by an asteroid, they worked for 6 months to save 300 people. They spent more resources on that rescue than most species would spend on a military campaign. This shows they will fight extremely hard to protect their own, the Council voted. 12 species agreed that humanity should be given one chance to surrender peacefully. If they refused, the hegemony would demonstrate its power by destroying one of their colonies. After that, complete surrender would be demanded. 3 days later, Admiral Jake Morrison sat in his command chair aboard the defense platform orbiting New Austin Colony. The platform was old, built 30 years ago when the colony was established. Its weapons were outdated, its shields weak, and its crew small. Morrison had been assigned here because it was considered a quiet posting where nothing important ever happened. Morrison was reading reports about the colony's agricultural output when his communications officer called out, "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission on all frequencies. It's coming from outside the system. Put it on the main screen," Morrison ordered. The image that appeared showed Zethkar in his full ceremonial armor, surrounded by the symbols of the Caltharian hegemony. His voice was deep and commanding, translated into perfect English by advanced systems. "Humans of this system, and all human systems, I am War Leader Zethkar of the Caltharian hegemony. Your species has been evaluated and found suitable for incorporation into our empire. You will surrender immediately and accept our guidance. Your primitive governments will be dissolved. Your military forces will be disbanded. Your people will serve the greater good of the hegemony. You have 72 hours to respond with your complete and unconditional surrender. Any resistance will result in the destruction of your colonies and the enslavement of your survivors. The hegemony has conquered 17 species. We have never been defeated. Submit now and live. Resist and face annihilation." The transmission ended. Morrison's bridge crew stared at the empty screen in silence. The communications officer spoke first. "Admiral, what do we do?" Morrison thought about his wife and children back on Earth. He thought about the farmers and teachers and doctors living on New Austin Colony below. He thought about the millions of humans scattered across dozens of worlds who had never done anything to deserve conquest or slavery. He turned to his communications officer. "Open a channel. Broadcast on all frequencies, same as theirs." The young officer's hand shook as he worked the controls. "Channel open, Admiral?" Morrison looked directly into the camera. His voice was calm and steady. "War Leader Zethkar of the Caltharian hegemony. Hey, this is Admiral Jake Morrison of the Human Defense Force. I have received your message, and I have a response for you and your empire." He paused for just a moment, thinking of all the human history. He had studied all the times his species had faced impossible odds and somehow survived. "Come and take it." General Kate Sullivan had been sleeping when the emergency alert woke her. The red lights in her quarters flashed as the computer voice repeated the same message over and over. "Priority Alpha alert. All senior staff report to Command Center. Immediately." She dressed quickly and ran through the corridors of Earth's Defense Headquarters. Other officers were doing the same, their faces showing confusion and worry. Priority Alpha meant only one thing: humanity. Faced an immediate threat to its survival, the Command Center was already full when she arrived. Screens showed star charts, ship positions, and communication logs from across human space. The duty officer, Colonel Rick Hayes, approached her with a datapad. "General, we have confirmed reports from 17 different colonies. Alien ships have appeared in their systems. Each colony received the same surrender demand that Admiral Morrison got at New Austin." Sullivan took the datapad and read quickly. The reports were all similar. Large alien vessels had appeared without warning. They had broadcast the same message demanding immediate surrender. Most colonial governors were panicking. Some were already preparing to evacuate. "What about Morrison's response?" Sullivan asked. Hayes played the recording. Morrison's calm voice filled the room as he delivered his simple challenge to the alien war leader. "Come and take it, sir. Admiral Morrison is requesting immediate reinforcement," Hayes continued. "His defense platform has minimal weapons and only 2 escort ships. Intelligence estimates the alien force in his system includes at least 50 combat vessels." Dr. Alex Parker approached from the intelligence section. He was a small man with thick glasses who specialized in military history. "General, I need to brief you on something important." Sullivan nodded. "Make it quick, Doctor." Parker activated a wall screen showing historical images. "Every time in human history that someone has called us weak, we have proven them wrong. The Mongols thought European knights were too soft. The British thought American colonists could not fight a real war. The Germans thought Americans would not cross an ocean to fight. The pattern is always the same." "What pattern?" Sullivan asked. "They see our peaceful nature and mistake it for weakness. They do not understand that humans fight hardest when we are protecting something we love. Our art, our music, our families, these are not signs of softness. They are what make life worth fighting for." Ambassador Tony Martinez entered the command center. He had been awakened from sleep like everyone else, but he had taken time to put on his formal diplomatic uniform. "General, I request permission to attempt contact with these aliens. Perhaps we can avoid war through negotiation." Sullivan looked at the screen showing alien fleets approaching human colonies. 50 ships against Morrison's tiny force. Similar odds at other locations. The aliens clearly expected easy victories. "Permission granted, Ambassador. But prepare for the possibility that they are not interested in peace." Martinez set up his communication equipment in a side room. He spent 30 minutes crafting a careful message. Spoke of peaceful coexistence, mutual benefit, and the possibility of friendship between species. He offered to meet with alien representatives to discuss any concerns they had about human expansion. The response came 6 hours later. It was not from the alien leadership. It was raw video footage from the colony world of Harmony Ridge. The images showed alien ships in orbit around the peaceful farming world. Harmony Ridge had been settled only 20 years ago by families looking for a simple life, growing crops and raising children. The colony had no military defenses beyond a few police officers with basic weapons. The alien ships fired without warning. Bright beams of energy struck the main settlement from orbit. Buildings vanished in flashes of light. The colony's communication center sent out a desperate message before it was destroyed. "They are killing everyone. They are not taking prisoners. They are not accepting surrender. They are just killing us all." The transmission ended with static. General Sullivan stared at the empty screen. 50,000 people had lived on Harmony Ridge, farmers, teachers, doctors, children, all dead in less than an hour. "How many other colonies have they attacked?" she asked quietly. "Just Harmony Ridge so far," Hayes replied. "It appears to be a demonstration. They destroyed one colony to show us what will happen if we resist." Dr. Parker stood up from his chair. "General, this is exactly what I was afraid of. They've made the same mistake that every enemy of humanity has made throughout history. They think that killing our civilians will make us surrender faster." "What does history tell us about that strategy, Doctor?" Parker smiled grimly. "It has the opposite effect. When someone attacks our families, we stop trying to be reasonable, stop looking for compromise. We become something much more dangerous." Communication system activated again. This time it showed Admiral Morrison on his command platform at New Austin. Behind him, his small crew was working frantically to prepare their outdated weapons. "General Sullivan, the alien fleet has entered our system. 57 ships total. They're demanding final surrender. My response remains the same as before." Morrison turned to face his crew. "All hands, this is the Admiral. In 30 minutes, we are going to be attacked by a force that outnumbers us more than 20 to 1. They think this will be easy. They think we will run or surrender when we see how powerful they are." He paused and looked directly into the camera. "They have made a mistake. They killed 50,000 of our people at Harmony Ridge. Those people were farmers and teachers and children who never hurt anyone. The aliens think that will make us afraid. Instead, it makes us angry. The crew on Morrison's platform stopped their work to listen. We cannot defeat 57 ships with our 3 ships. But we can show them something they do not expect. We can show them that humans do not give up. We can show them that every victory they win will cost them more than they plan to pay. Morrison turned back to the communication screen. General Sullivan, I am engaging the enemy. Send word to all human colonies and all human ships. Tell them what happened at Harmony Ridge. Tell them that we are at war. The screen went dark as Morrison cut the transmission. General Sullivan looked around the command center at her officers and staff. They were all watching her, waiting for orders. She thought about the families on Harmony Ridge. She thought about the millions of humans living on colonies across the galaxy. She thought about the aliens who believed that one demonstration of force would make humanity surrender. Colonel Hayes, send a message to all fleet commanders. Condition read. All ships to battle stations. All reserves activated immediately. Turn to Dr. Parker. Doctor, I want you to prepare a complete analysis of human military capabilities. Not what we show the public, but what we can actually do when we stop holding back. Finally, she looked at Ambassador Martinez. Ambassador, prepare a message for broadcast to Earth and all colonies. Tell them we are at war. Tell them why we are at war. Tell them that we will never surrender to someone who murders children. Martinez nodded. What should I tell them about our chances of victory? General Sullivan watched the screen showing alien fleets approaching human worlds. Hundreds of ships against humanity's smaller fleet. Advanced technology against human determination. Tell them that throughout history, people have made the mistake of thinking humans are weak because we prefer peace. Tell them that we are about to remind the galaxy why that is a fatal error. In space near New Austin Colony, Admiral Morrison's small force moved to intercept the alien fleet. The battle that would change the galaxy was about to begin. Captain Ben Taylor watched his ship's screens as the alien vessel tried to escape. The destroyer USS Relentless had been chasing the damaged enemy ship for 3 hours through the asteroid field near Titan Base. The alien ship was faster, but it was leaking atmosphere and losing power. Captain, they're trying to send a distress signal, reported his communications officer. Jam it, Taylor ordered. I want that ship intact. This would be the first alien vessel humans had captured. Every other battle had ended with the enemy. Ships self-destructing rather than surrendering. The aliens seemed to prefer death over capture, which made Taylor even more determined to take this one alive. The chase ended when the alien ship's engines finally failed. It drifted helplessly between 2 large asteroids, its hull cracked and bleeding air into space. Taylor brought his ship alongside and prepared boarding parties. Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez had been working on new equipment ever since the war started. He had converted mining tools into weapons and turned construction equipment into armor. His latest creation was a cutting torch that could slice through alien hull material in seconds. Captain, my boarding equipment is ready, Rodriguez reported. But I have to warn you, we don't know what their ship's atmosphere is like. Could be poison to us. That's why we have suits, Chief. Colonel Foster, are your Marines ready? Colonel Amy Foster commanded the ship's Marine detachment. She was a small woman, but her troops would follow her into hell if she asked. Ready, Captain. We've been training for this since the war started. The boarding operation took 4 hours. Foster's Marines had to cut through 3 different bulkheads before they found the ship's crew. The aliens had barricaded themselves in their command center, but they were too injured to fight back effectively. The captured ship contained 12 alien crew members. Most were unconscious from blood loss and oxygen deprivation. The 2 who were still awake stared at the human Marines with what looked like fear. Dr. Nina Bell had joined the mission specifically to study captured aliens. She was a psychologist who specialized in understanding different species. As soon as the ship was secure, she began her work. The aliens appear to be reptilian, she reported to Captain Taylor. Cold-blooded, which explains why their ship is so hot. They communicate through both sound and color changes in their scales. Most importantly, they seem genuinely shocked that we boarded their ship. Shocked how? Taylor asked. Of according to our translator's software. One of them keeps saying they fight in the void. I think they can't believe we're willing to fight in space without atmosphere. The captured alien officer was named Krivas. Dr. Bell spent days trying to communicate with him. At first, he refused to speak. Then he began asking questions that surprised her. He wants to know why we didn't kill them immediately, Bell reported to the ship's senior staff. He says that in every battle they've had with other species, the defeated enemies were either executed or took their own lives. The concept of taking prisoners for information is foreign to them. Chief Rodriguez had been examining the captured alien technology. Captain, their weapons are definitely more advanced than ours, but they're not as tough as they look. Their ships are built for speed and firepower, but not for taking damage. Our ships are slower, but much harder to kill. Captain Taylor studied the intelligence reports from other human ships. The pattern was becoming clear. Aliens won when they could stay at long range and use their superior weapons. Humans won when they could get close enough to use their heavier armor and their willingness to ram enemy ships. Chief, I want you to modify our weapon systems. Focus on short-range firepower. If we can't outrun them, we need to make sure we can hurt them when we catch them. Dr. Bell made a breakthrough with the alien prisoner on the 5th day. Captain, I've learned something important about their psychology. They expect warfare to follow specific rules. Ships fight at long range. Defeated enemies surrender or self-destruct. Civilians are not targeted unless they resist. But they attacked Harmony Ridge, Taylor pointed out, was a demonstration, according to Krivas. They destroyed one colony to show us their power. In their experience, most species surrender after a demonstration like that. The fact that we became more determined to fight confuses them. Meanwhile, Colonel Foster was training her Marines in new tactics. The traditional rules of space combat did not seem to apply to humans. While aliens expected orderly battles between ships, humans were willing to board enemy vessels, fight in damaged sections without atmosphere, and use any weapon they could find. We're learning that aliens don't like close combat, Foster reported. They're used to fighting at a distance. With advanced weapons, when we get close, they panic. Their hand weapons are precise, but not very powerful. Our basic kinetic weapons are more effective in close quarters. Chief Rodriguez had been working on a new project. He had taken the mining equipment from 3 different asteroids and combined it into something no military engineer had ever imagined. Captain, I've finished the new weapon system. It's basically a mining drill that fires metal slugs at extremely high velocity. It's not fancy, but it will punch through alien armor like paper. The test firing was spectacular. Rodriguez's improvised weapon tore through a practice target that had been built to simulate alien ship armor. The metal slugs continued traveling and destroyed a second target a kilometer away. Chief, how fast can you build more of these? Taylor asked. Give me a week and access to more mining equipment? Every human ship could have one. Dr. Bell had learned more from her conversations. With Krivas, Captain, I need to report something disturbing. The aliens are starting to change their opinion of us. Krivas says that word is spreading through their fleet that humans fight like demons. Is that good or bad? Taylor asked. I'm not sure. On one hand, it means they're starting to respect our fighting ability. On the other hand, it means they're beginning to see us as a real threat instead of just a minor obstacle. The communication came that evening. Admiral Morrison's voice filled the ship's speakers as he broadcast to all human vessels in the area. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison aboard the defense platform at New Austin. I am pleased to report that we have successfully defended our colony against the alien attack. Enemy losses were 41 ships destroyed, 12 captured, and 4 escaped. Human losses were the escort ship Defiant and 63 personnel. The crew of the Relentless cheered, but Taylor remained focused on the numbers. Morrison's small force had faced 57 alien ships and won. That should have been impossible. Our victory was possible because the enemy expected us to fight like every other species they have conquered, Morrison continued. They expected us to maintain safe distances and follow the standard rules of space combat. Instead, we rammed their ships when our weapons failed, boarded their vessels when they tried to retreat. We fought and damaged sections of our own ships when they should have been abandoned. Dr. Bell looked up from her notes. Captain Krevis is asking to speak with you directly. Put him on screen. The alien's image appeared, his scales showing colors that the computer translated as extreme distress. Human Captain, I must ask you something. Why do your people fight this way? Why do you not follow the proper rules of warfare? Taylor thought about the question. He remembered the images from Harmony Ridge, burned homes, dead children, families, who had never hurt anyone. We fight this way because you made it personal when you killed our civilians. When you attack our families, we stop caring about rules. Krivas stared at him for a long moment. My people have made a terrible mistake, haven't they? As Taylor replied. You have. Back on the alien flagship, war leader Zethkar read the reports from the battle at New Austin. 41 ships lost, 12 captured. The humans had weapons that should not have been effective against Caltharian armor. They used tactics that violated every rule of civilized warfare. Intelligence analyst Velinara entered his command chamber. War leader, I have prepared a new assessment of human capabilities. What does it say? Zethkar asked, though he feared. The answer? It says that we have awakened something we do not understand. These humans are not like other species. When we attack them, they become stronger. When we kill their civilians, they become more determined. When we destroy their ships, they ram their wreckage into ours. Zethkar looked at the reports again. For the first time since the war began, he felt something he had never experienced before when facing an enemy. Fear. Admiral Rachel Martinez stood on the bridge of her flagship watching the most beautiful sight she had ever seen. 200 human warships moved through space in perfect formation, their engines creating streams of blue light against the darkness. This was Earth's entire battle fleet. Every ship that could be spared from defense duties, she had received Admiral Morrison's call for reinforcements 3 weeks ago. The message was simple, but urgent. Morrison had won the first battle, but alien. Reinforcements were coming. Hundreds of enemy ships were moving toward human space, and Morrison's small force could not stop them alone. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Johnson flew his fighter in a wide circle around the fleet. The squadron had been practicing new tactics that would have been considered suicide just months ago. The plan was simple. Ram damaged alien ships before they could self-destruct. The fighters were equipped with enhanced armor and emergency life support, but everyone knew the missions would be one-way trips. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet, reported the communications officer. Put it on screen, Martinez ordered. The image showed a different alien than the one who had made the original surrender demand. This creature looked older, with darker scales and scars across his face. Oh, when he spoke, his voice carried less arrogance. Then War Leader Zethkar. Human Admiral, I am Fleet Commander Vekmal of the Caltharian hegemony. I bring 400 ships to reclaim the systems you have stolen from us. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Martinez smiled. Fleet Commander, this is Admiral Martinez of the Human Defense Force. I have a counteroffer for you. Leave our space immediately, and we might let some of your ships escape. The alien scales changed color in what the computer translated as shock. You face 400 ships with only 200. Your defeat is certain, maybe Martinez replied. But it won't be cheap for you. The battle began 6 hours later at Kepler Station, a human supply depot on the edge of colonized space. The station itself was not important, but its location made it the perfect place for a major fleet engagement. Dr. Chris Anderson had been working in his laboratory aboard Martinez's flagship for months. His specialty was biochemistry, and he had been studying samples taken from captured alien prisoners. What he discovered would change the war. Admiral, I need to brief you on my latest research, Anderson reported, as the fleets moved into position. I've found a weakness in alien biology that we can exploit. What kind of weakness, Doctor? Their respiratory system is very different from ours. They breathe a mixture of gases that includes a compound we can neutralize with modified atmospheric processors. If we can breach their ship's hull and introduce our counteragent, their crew will be unconscious within minutes. Martinez studied the data. Can you produce enough of this agent for the entire fleet? Already done, Admiral. Every ship has been equipped with delivery systems. But you need to understand this only works if we can get close enough to breach their holes. We still need to fight our way to point-blank range. Engineer Maria Santos had spent the voyage modifying human ship designs. Her specialty was damage control, and she had learned important lessons from the earlier battles. Alien ships were faster and had better weapons, but they were built like racing cars, fast but fragile. Human ships were built like tanks, slow, but incredibly tough. "Admiral, I've finished the modifications to our armor systems," Santos reported. "Human ships can now continue fighting even after losing half their hull sections. We've also added redundant life support systems, so our crews can keep fighting even in damaged areas." Lieutenant Colonel Johnson led the first attack wave. His fighter squadron dove toward the alien fleet like missiles, their engines pushing them to maximum speed. The aliens fired their precise energy weapons, destroying several fighters, but the rest kept coming. Johnson's fighter struck an alien cruiser amidships. The impact tore through the enemy ship's armor and created a massive breach. Before the alien crew could activate their self-destruct system, Dr. Anderson's gas weapon deployed through the hole. The enemy crew fell unconscious, and human boarding parties captured the ship intact. "All squadrons, this is Johnson." The pilot broadcast as his emergency pod drifted away from the collision. "The tactic works. Ram them fast and hard, then let the boarding teams finish the job." Admiral Martinez watched as the battle developed. Human ships were slower than their alien opponents, but they were proving much harder to kill. When an alien ship lost its main weapons, it tried to retreat. When a human ship lost its main weapons, it rammed the nearest enemy. Fleet Commander Dekmal could not believe what he was seeing. The humans were fighting like no species he had ever encountered. Their ships absorbed damage that should have destroyed them. Their fighters deliberately crashed into his vessels. They're boarding. Parties fought in sections of ships that had no atmosphere. "Maintain distance," he ordered his fleet. "Do not allow the humans to close to ramming range." But the humans had prepared for this tactic too. Chief Rodriguez's mining equipment weapons had been installed on every human ship. The improvised weapons could not match alien technology for accuracy or range, but they fired much heavier projectiles. When human ships could not get close enough to ram, they simply shot massive metal slugs through enemy hulls from long range. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the human fleet had captured 47 alien ships intact and destroyed 63 others. The remaining alien vessels retreated toward their home space, many of them badly damaged. Admiral Martinez toured one of the captured alien ships after the battle. The vessel was much larger than any human ship, with technology that seemed almost magical. But it had been defeated by human determination and improvised. WEAPONS Dr. Anderson examined the unconscious alien crew members. "Admiral, I'm learning more about their psychology from these prisoners. They're having trouble understanding how we can keep fighting when our ships are heavily damaged. In their experience, damaged ships retreat for repairs." "What else have you learned, Doctor? You're starting to call us something new?" "The translation is difficult, but it roughly means the species that refuses to die. We're beginning to realize that our casualty rates don't affect our willingness to fight." Engineer Santos had been studying the captured alien technology. "Admiral, their ships are amazing, but they're built for a different kind of warfare. Expect to win quickly with superior firepower. They're not designed for long battles against opponents who refuse to surrender." The communication came from Earth that evening. General Sullivan's image appeared on the main screen, and she was smiling. "Admiral Martinez, congratulations on your victory at Kepler Station. Your success has had an unexpected effect. Surrender offers from 3 different alien species that were allied with the Caltharians. They're asking to change sides before we attack them." Martinez was surprised. "They want to join us?" Apparently, word is spreading through the galaxy that humans are the new dominant military power. Species that were forced to join the Caltharian hegemony are now asking for our protection instead. Intelligence analyst Velinara sat in her quarters, aboard the alien flagship, writing what might be her final report. The facts were undeniable. Human forces had defeated a fleet twice their size. Human tactics were proving superior to Caltharian doctrine. Human technology, while primitive, was being used in ways that Caltharian engineers had never imagined.
The white war leader.
She wrote to Zethkar, "We must face the truth. We have not encountered a weak species that can be easily conquered. We have encountered a species that becomes more dangerous the harder we fight them. Every victory we achieve costs us more ships than we can afford to lose. Every defeat they suffer makes them more determined to win the next battle." She paused in her writing, thinking about the reports from the battlefield. Human ships fighting, with half their hulls destroyed, human fighters deliberately crashing into Caltharian vessels. Human boarding parties fighting in the vacuum of space. "We have awakened something that should have been left sleeping," she concluded. "The humans are not just winning battles. They are changing the nature of warfare itself. If we continue this conflict, they will not simply defeat us. They will destroy us completely." On Earth, in the command center, General Sullivan studied the reports from Kepler Station. Human losses had been significant, but the victory was complete. The alien fleet had been broken, and word of human military success was spreading throughout the galaxy. "Colonel Hayes, prepare orders for all fleet commanders. We're no longer playing defense. It's time to take the war to the enemy." The tide had turned. Humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were fighting for victory. Fleet Admiral Dan Cooper stood on the observation deck of the massive human battleship, watching the alien home system grow larger on the screens. Behind him, 300 human warships moved through space like a swarm of angry hornets. It had taken 8 months to reach this point. But humanity had finally brought the war to the heart of Caltharian space. The journey here had been marked by a series of crushing victories. Human fleets had swept through 12 alien systems, capturing or destroying everything in their path. What had started as a desperate defense of human colonies had become a campaign of conquest that shocked the entire galaxy. Captain Lisa Torres had spent those 8 months behind enemy lines, infiltrating Caltharian communication networks and gathering intelligence. She was a small woman who spoke 6 different alien languages and could blend into any crowd. Her mission was to broadcast a message that would shake the foundation of the alien empire. "Admiral, I'm ready to transmit," Torres reported from her hidden position on a captured alien station. "You sure you want me to broadcast this on all frequencies?" Cooper nodded. "Do it, Captain." It's time they understood what they're really fighting. Torres activated her equipment and began broadcasting across the entire Caltharian communication network. Her message was simple but devastating. She read directly from captured human military documents explaining exactly how humans approached warfare. "To all species of the Caltharian hegemony," she began, "you have been told that humans are a primitive species that can be easily defeated. Your leaders have lied to you. Humans do not fight wars the way other species fight wars. When humans go to war, they do not seek victory. They seek the complete destruction of their enemies." The broadcast continued for 30 minutes, detailing human military doctrine. Torres explained how human industrial capacity could be converted to war production in a matter of weeks. She described human willingness to accept massive casualties if it meant achieving victory. Most importantly, she revealed that humans had been holding back their most destructive weapons. The nuclear weapons you have seen are not our most powerful. The kinetic bombardment systems are not our most destructive. We have weapons that can crack planets and turn stars into supernovas. We have not used them because we hoped you would surrender before we had to. Dr. Paul Wright had been analyzing captured alien technology for months. His specialty was tactical analysis, and he had reverse-engineered the aliens' best weapons systems. What he discovered was both impressive and disappointing. "Admiral, I've completed my analysis of their technology," Wright reported as the human fleet prepared for the final battle. "Their weapons are definitely more advanced than ours, but they're designed for a completely different type of warfare." Explain. "Doctor, their entire military doctrine is based on quick, clean victories against technologically inferior opponents. They've never had to fight a prolonged war against an enemy that refuses to surrender. Their ships are fast and powerful, but they're not built for the kind of brutal, grinding combat that humans excel at. Sergeant Major Carlos Diaz had been leading ground forces in the conquest of alien military bases throughout the campaign. His Marines had developed new tactics for fighting in alien environments, and they had proven devastatingly effective. "Admiral, my ground forces are ready for the assault on their home world," Diaz reported. "We've learned that aliens don't understand urban warfare. They expect battles to be fought in open spaces with clear lines of engagement. When we fight in their cities, moving from building to building, they panic." The first phase of the attack began with Admiral Cooper's fleet engaging the massive orbital defenses around the Caltharian homeworld. The alien defense platforms were impressive, huge structures bristling with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. But they had been designed to fight conventional enemies who followed conventional tactics. Human ships did not follow conventional tactics. Instead of maintaining safe distances and exchanging long-range fire, they charged directly at the defense platforms. Ships that were too damaged to continue fighting rammed themselves into alien installations. Fighters whose weapons had failed crashed into defensive positions. War leader Zethkar watched the battle from his command center on the planet's surface. He could not believe what he was seeing. The humans were winning through sheer determination and willingness to sacrifice. Their ships absorbed damage that should have destroyed them. Their crews fought on even when their vessels were falling apart around them. "All defense platforms concentrate fire on the human flagship," he ordered desperately, but it was too late. Human ships had broken through the orbital defenses and were beginning their assault on the planet itself. The images on Zethkar's screens showed human landing craft descending through the atmosphere, while alien interceptors tried unsuccessfully to stop them. "High Counselor, Mithraea had been receiving reports from across the Caltharian Empire for weeks. Every report told the same story. Human fleets were advancing on all fronts. Alien defenses were crumbling. Species that had been loyal to the hegemony for centuries were surrendering to human forces rather than face destruction."
Ow.
She transmitted to the planet's surface. "You must consider immediate surrender. The humans have fleets approaching 12 of our core worlds simultaneously. If we continue fighting, they will destroy our entire civilization." Zethkar's response was filled with rage and desperation. "We cannot surrender to primitives. Our honor demands that we fight to the end. Our honor will not matter if our species is extinct," Nethra replied coldly. On the planet's surface, Sergeant Major Diaz led his Marines through the alien capital city. The fighting was fierce but brief. Alien soldiers were trained for battles in open terrain. It's not for the close-quarters combat that humans had perfected over centuries of warfare. The aliens' weapons were more advanced, but their tactics were rigid and predictable. When human Marines appeared in unexpected locations, the alien defenders often panicked. When buildings were damaged, aliens abandoned them instead of fighting from the ruins. "Admiral Cooper, this is Diaz," the Sergeant Major reported as his forces reached the center of the alien capital. "We've captured their main government complex. Resistance is collapsing throughout the city." Dr. Wright had been monitoring alien communications during the battle. What he discovered was almost as important as the military victory. "Admiral, I'm intercepting communications from other alien species throughout the galaxy. Word of our victory here is spreading faster than our ships can travel. 3 more species have announced their surrender. 2 others are requesting immediate alliance treaties." Captain Torres had completed her mission behind enemy lines and was preparing to return to the human fleet. But first, she had one more broadcast to make. To all species in the galaxy, she transmitted on every available frequency, "The Caltharian hegemony has fallen. Their homeworld is under human control. Their fleets are destroyed. Any species that wishes to continue fighting against humanity should understand what they face." She paused, thinking about everything she had witnessed during the campaign. Humans did not start this war. We offered peace and were answered with the murder of our civilians. We offered diplomacy and were answered with demands for surrender. We offered coexistence and were answered with threats of slavery. Torres looked at the images on her screen showing human ships in orbit around the alien homeworld. Human troops in control of alien cities, human flags flying over alien government buildings. "We finish what others start," Do not forgive the murder of children. Do not forget unprovoked attacks on our families. And we do not stop fighting until our enemies can never threaten us again." In his command bunker, war leader Zethkar read the final reports. Human forces controlled his planet's capital. His fleets were destroyed. His empire was collapsing. The species he had dismissed as weak primitives had proven to be the most dangerous military force the galaxy had ever seen. Intelligence. Analyst Velanara entered the bunker carrying a white flag. War leader High Counselor Nethra has ordered the immediate surrender of all Caltharian forces. The war is over. Zethkar stared at the flag for a long moment. How did this happen? How did we lose to such a primitive species? Velanara had spent months studying human warfare and psychology. They were never primitive war leader. We were just too arrogant to see their true nature. They are predators pretending to be peaceful. When we attacked their families, we awakened something that should have been left sleeping. Outside the bunker, human soldiers were setting up communication equipment. Soon, they would demand Zethkar's surrender. The war that had begun with alien confidence and easy victory was ending with alien submission to human dominance. Fleet Admiral Cooper received the surrender request 6 hours later. High Counselor Nethra appeared on his screen, her scales showing. The colors of complete defeat. Admiral Cooper, I formally request immediate ceasefire in the beginning of surrender negotiations. The Caltharian hegemony accepts total defeat and submits to human authority. President Margaret Foster sat in her office overlooking the ruins of the Caltharian capital city. 6 months had passed since the surrender, and the galaxy was still adjusting to its new reality. Humanity had gone from a minor colonial power to the dominant military force in known space in less than 2 years. The reconstruction was proceeding faster than anyone had expected. Human engineers were working alongside alien technicians to rebuild the damaged cities and infrastructure. But this was not charity. It was the price of peace. The aliens would rebuild what they had destroyed. They would do it under human supervision. Admiral Jake Morrison entered the office carrying a datapad filled with reports from across the former hegemony territory. He had been promoted to Supreme Military Commander after his defense of New Austin Colony had proven that humans could defeat any enemy if they refused to surrender. "Madam President, I have the weekly status report," Morrison said, setting the pad on her desk. "All former hegemony worlds are under human control. The disarmament process is 90% complete. More importantly, we've received alliance requests from 47 different species." Foster read through the reports. The numbers were staggering. 12 species that had been forced into the Caltharian hegemony were now voluntarily joining a human-led alliance. Dozens of other species were requesting trade agreements and defense treaties. The galaxy's power structure had completely reversed. Ambassador Alina Garcia had spent months negotiating the terms of the new galactic order. Her job was to turn humanity's military victory into lasting political control. The work was difficult because most alien species still did not understand how humans thought about war and peace. "Madam President, I need to brief you on the latest negotiations," Garcia reported as she joined the meeting. "The Vorthok delegation is requesting clarification of our defense treaty terms. They want to know if humans will really fight to defend their worlds if they are attacked." "What did you tell them?" Foster asked. "I told them the truth. If someone attacks our allies, we treat it as an attack on humanity itself. They seemed shocked that we would risk human lives to protect non-human civilians." Dr. Kevin Liu had been studying the psychological impact of the war on alien species throughout the galaxy. His research was revealing important information about how other civilizations viewed humanity's rise to power. "Madam President, I've completed my analysis of galactic opinion surveys," Liu reported. "The results are fascinating. Most species now view humans as the most dangerous military force in the galaxy, but also the most trustworthy allies." "How is that possible?" Foster asked. "Because we keep our promises, both good and bad. When we promised to destroy the Caltharian hegemony, we did it. When we promise to defend our allies, they believe we will do that too. Fear and trust can coexist when backed by demonstrated capability." Intelligence analyst Velanara had become an unlikely celebrity in the new galactic order. Her warnings about human military capability had been ignored by Caltharian leadership, but her detailed analysis of human warfare had become required reading for military academies across the galaxy. She had been granted permission to publish her study titled Human Warfare, a Galactic Warning. The document was spreading through alien communication networks faster than any military intelligence report in history. Humans are apex predators, she had written. Their peaceful behavior is not weakness, it is the confidence of a species that knows it can destroy any threat if necessary. They do not fight for territory or resources. They fight for survival and family. When these motivations are triggered, no force in the galaxy can stop them. The study included detailed analysis of human tactics, psychology, and industrial capacity. Most importantly, it warned other species about the fatal mistake of attacking human civilians. Do not confuse human compassion with human weakness, the report concluded. They will feed their enemies' children while negotiating peace, but they will burn entire worlds to protect their own families. Admiral Morrison had established human naval bases in 12 different star systems. The bases served multiple purposes. They guaranteed that former hegemony worlds remained peaceful. They provided rapid response capability against new threats. And they sent a clear message to the entire galaxy about humanity's new role. Madam President, our naval expansion is complete, Morrison reported. We now have the capability to reach any system in this spiral arm within 6 days. More importantly, every species in the galaxy knows we have this capability. The communication request came from the edge of human space. A new alien species had been detected approaching the frontier, and they were requesting first contact. Their ships were massive, and their technology appeared advanced. Under the old Galactic Order, they would have been considered a major threat. President Foster activated the communication system. The alien that appeared on screen was unlike any species humanity had encountered. It looked like a cross between a spider and a tree, with multiple limbs and what appeared to be bark-like skin. Greetings, human leader. The alien spoke through a translation device. I am Hive Mind Coordinator Zextel of the Arachnid Collective. We have traveled far to reach your territory. Welcome to Human Space Coordinator, Foster replied carefully. What brings your people to our frontier? The alien's limbs moved in what the computer interpreted as nervous gestures. We have heard reports of your military capabilities. We wish to formally surrender and request inclusion in your protective alliance. Foster blinked in surprise. Surrender? We haven't made any hostile moves toward your species. Human President, we have studied the reports of your war against the Caltharian hegemony. We have analyzed the tactical data and strategic outcomes. We conclude that resistance against humanity is futile. Rather than face inevitable defeat, we choose immediate submission. Ambassador Garcia leaned forward. Coordinator, we prefer voluntary alliance to forced submission. What are your people's concerns? The alien explained that their species had been planning to expand into human territory. They had observed human colonies and assumed they could be easily conquered. The reports from the Caltharian War had changed their assessment completely. We realized that any attack on human civilians would result in the total destruction of our civilization, Zextal explained. Therefore, we choose alliance over annihilation. Dr. Liu was taking notes frantically. This was the first time a species had chosen to submit to humanity without any conflict at all. The psychological impact of the Caltharian War was creating a new dynamic in galactic politics. Coordinator President Foster said carefully, humanity does not seek to conquer other species. We offer alliance and mutual defense, not submission. In occupation. We understand the distinction, Human President. But we also understand the consequences of threatening your people. Choose to be your allies rather than risk becoming your enemies. The meeting lasted 3 hours. By the end, the Arachnid Collective had signed a comprehensive alliance treaty with humanity. They agreed to share technology, provide mutual defense, follow human leadership in military matters. After the aliens departed, President Foster sat alone in her office thinking about how much the galaxy had changed. Humanity had been a minor power trying to defend scattered colonies. Now, entire civilizations were surrendering without a fight, rather than risk. Human displeasure. Admiral Morrison returned with additional reports. Madam President, we've received similar requests from 6 other species.
Oh, wow.
All of them cite the Caltharian War as their reason for seeking immediate alliance with humanity. How many species is that total? Foster asked, counting today's agreement. 73 species have now joined the human alliance. Our territory covers almost half the spiral arm, and we've never fired a shot at most of our new allies. Ambassador Garcia had been monitoring galactic communication networks. Madam President, there's something else you should know. The phrase, "don't make the humans angry," has become a common saying across the galaxy. It's being used as a warning against aggressive behavior toward any species under our protection. Dr. Liu presented his final analysis. Madam President, humanity has achieved something unprecedented in galactic history. We've created an empire based not on fear of our conquest, but on fear of our retaliation. Other species don't join us because they want our protection from external threats. They join us because they want our guarantee that we won't destroy them. President Foster looked out the window at the bustling alien city below. Former enemies. We're now working alongside human engineers to rebuild their world. Ships from dozens of different species were arriving daily with trade goods and alliance proposals. Admiral Morrison, what's our current military status? She asked. We maintain the most powerful fleet in the galaxy, but we've only used it defensively. Since the Caltharians' surrender, most importantly, every species knows that if they attack our allies, they'll face the same fate as the hegemony. The final communication came from Earth. General Sullivan's image appeared on the screen, and she was smiling. Madam President, I have news from the frontier. 3 more species have requested alliance treaties today. But more interesting, we've detected a new civilization on the far edge of explored space. They're sending out first contact messages.